Have you ever looked at your to-do list and just felt completely exhausted? You know you have things to do. You have homework, work, messages you need to reply to, goals you said you were going to work on. Maybe you even have something really important coming up, but you just can't get yourself to do it. So you lie down, you scroll through your phone, you watch YouTube, you tell yourself, I'll do it in 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes an hour, then 2 hours. And eventually you feel guilty. You start thinking, why am I so lazy? But what if you're not actually lazy? What if you're just tired? And I'm not only talking about being physically tired. Sometimes your body isn't exhausted, but your mind is. You've been thinking too much, worrying too much, comparing yourself too much, trying to keep up with everything. And eventually your brain just says, I can't do this anymore. You might be mentally tired without realizing it. Think about how much information you consume every day. You wake up and check your phone. Messages, notifications, Instagram, YouTube, news, school, work, people's opinions, other people's achievements. And before your day has even properly started, your brain has already processed hundreds of things. Then you spend the rest of the day trying to be productive. And when you finally get some free time, you don't know what to do. So you scroll, and scroll, and scroll. You think you're relaxing, but sometimes you're just giving your brain more information to process. And then you wonder why you can't focus. Sometimes you're not lazy, you're overwhelmed. There's a difference. Imagine you have 20 things you need to do. Study, exercise, clean your room, reply to messages, work on your future, learn a skill, sleep properly, spend time with your family, and somehow you're supposed to do all of it perfectly. So you look at everything and don't know where to start. And when you don't know where to start, you do nothing. Then you feel guilty for doing nothing. Then the guilt makes you even more overwhelmed. And suddenly you've created a cycle. Overwhelmed to procrastinate, see, feel guilty, become more overwhelmed, procrastinate again. That's not always laziness. Sometimes you simply have too much on your mind. And social media makes this even worse, because you're constantly watching other people being productive. Someone wakes up at 5 a.m., someone works out every morning, someone reads 50 books a year, someone is building a business, someone is traveling, someone is getting amazing grades. And you're lying in bed at 11 a.m. thinking, what's wrong with me? But you're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You don't know what their entire day looks like, and you definitely don't know how they feel when the camera isn't recording. So stop using other people's lives as a measuring stick for your own. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. to prove you're disciplined. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You don't need to be productive every second of the day. You're a human being, not a machine. You are allowed to rest. This is something a lot of people struggle with. They feel guilty whenever they're not being productive. They sit down for 30 minutes and immediately think, I should be studying, I should be working, I should be doing something useful. But rest isn't a waste of time. Your body needs recovery, your brain needs quiet, you need moments where you're not trying to achieve something. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is genuinely rest. Not scrolling for 3 hours while feeling guilty. Actually rest. Go outside, take a walk, listen to music, take a shower, sit somewhere quietly, talk to someone, sleep. Give your brain a chance to breathe. But here's the important part. Don't use I'm tired as an excuse to give up on everything. Because sometimes you really are tired, and sometimes you're simply avoiding something uncomfortable. Maybe you're scared of failing. Maybe the task feels boring. Maybe you don't know how to start. Maybe you're afraid your work won't be good enough. And calling yourself lazy doesn't solve any of those problems. Instead, ask yourself, what am I actually avoiding? That question can be powerful, because sometimes the problem isn't that you don't want to work, it's that something about the work makes you uncomfortable. Once you understand that, you can actually deal with it. And when you are tired, make things smaller. Don't tell yourself, I need to study for 5 hours. That's huge. Instead say, I'll study for 10 minutes. Don't say, I need to completely clean my room. Say, I'll clean this one corner. Don't say, I need to completely change my life. Say, what's one thing I can do today? Because starting is often harder than continuing. You don't need to feel motivated before you begin. Sometimes motivation comes after you take the first step. Open the book, put your shoes on, write the first sentence, clean one thing, send one email, do one small task. And once you start, you might realize, okay, this isn't as impossible as I thought. Also, take a look at your sleep. Seriously. A lot of people say they're lazy when they're simply not sleeping enough. You're staying up until 2 a.m. watching videos, then waking up early, then wondering why you're exhausted all day. Your brain can't perform at its best if you're constantly running on empty. Try getting into a more consistent sleep schedule. Give yourself enough time to actually rest. And don't underestimate the basics. Eat properly, drink water, move your body, get some sunlight, take breaks. These things sound boring, but they matter, and please stop hating yourself. This might be the most important part of this entire video. If you're struggling right now, Beating yourself up isn't going to magically make you productive. Calling yourself lazy, calling yourself useless, calling yourself a failure, none of that helps. Imagine your friend came to you and said, "I've been struggling. I can't focus. I'm exhausted. I feel like I'm wasting my life." Would you say, "Yeah, you're just lazy, get over it"? Probably not. You'd probably tell them to take a breath. So why don't you give yourself the same kindness? You can hold yourself accountable without destroying your self-worth. There's a difference between saying, "I need to do better," and saying, "I'm a terrible person." The first one helps you grow. The second one just hurts you. So if you've been feeling lazy lately, stop and ask yourself, am I actually lazy or am I exhausted? Maybe you need better sleep. Maybe you need a break. Maybe you need to stop comparing yourself to everyone. Maybe you have too much on your plate. Maybe you need to talk to someone. Maybe you need to simplify your goals. Or maybe there's something deeper going on that you haven't addressed yet. And if you're constantly exhausted, unable to function normally, or feeling persistently low, don't just label yourself lazy. Consider talking to a trusted person or a qualified professional. You don't have to figure everything out alone. And remember, you don't have to be productive every moment of your life. You're allowed to have slow days. You're allowed to rest, you're allowed to struggle, you're allowed to start again tomorrow. Just don't give up on yourself. Because maybe you're not lazy, maybe you've simply been carrying too much for too long. So take a breath, put the phone down for a little while, get some rest. Then tomorrow, pick one small thing and do it. Not because you hate yourself, not because you need to prove something, but because you deserve to build a life that feels better. You're not a machine, you're a human being. And sometimes, you don't need more motivation, you just need a little rest.